So this is a 3.6 FSI engine. Pulling that out of a Volkswagen Touareg. It's got an ATF leak from the torque converter seal that joins into the gearbox. So we'll be pulling the engine out to get the gearbox off and reseal or replace the seal for the torque converter. So we started by pulling the intake tube with the airbox lid off. So we've taken this section out that runs down to the throttle body here. Pulled the driver's wiper arm off. In the process of just ripping this passenger side wiper arm. Yes, we are right-hand drive, so this is back to front. And the reason for that is we're going to pull this scuttle panel, or whatever you want to call it, and get the ECU wiring out basically, and chase the loom out through, and from this e-box over here also. So that'll be our next thing. We'll also disconnect some of these Lambda Pro wiring plugs so we can leave the Lambda probes in the exhaust. I will try and leave the aircon compressor behind with the car, so we don't have to disrupt that. But if that's not the case, then we'll just degas the air conditioning, and we'll obviously drop some fluids and go underneath and start dropping this thing out. But a little update: I've got this brake booster hose off. I've got the ECU wiring plug to the engine loom disconnected, and the earth next to it. Got these 1, 2, 3 wiring plugs also for the engine loom out of the passenger side e-box. That runs across the bulkhead here, and then it all comes through. The two parts of the loom run through together. There's the engine ECU, so you can see it. So yeah, we're getting along there. I don't know what else we've actually done. We've got the main line off the jump point, and we've also got the power down to the alternator disconnected. So those two are ticked off. We've also got obviously power steering to go down to the pump to disconnect, but we'll drain that first from underneath. And we've got these two coolant lines left to do, just the vent tube to the top of the reservoir, and then the actual reservoir supply. So we'll get those off once the coolant is dropped out of that. So yeah, that's where we're at present, and we'll probably go up next and get some fluids out of this thing. So we've got the car about halfway up, as you can see on the hoist. So the line's a bit poor here. So what we'll have to do, without interrupting the brake hydraulic system, we'll be leaving the calipers behind and dropping the axle basically. So we'll be undoing these nuts here for the upright. The camera will focus, so we'll break those ball joints. The strut will stay with the car. We'll undo this bolt. We'll undo the sway bar or anti-roll bar bolt and leave. This will come down with the car, this will stay with the strut. Caliper will tie up, undo the back of this upright is bolts supporting the brake line, so we'll support all that, we'll undo all those and support that, the caliper up to the upright, to the shock, sorry, just to leave it all intact. So we're over on the other side now, and I've popped the ball joint. As you can see, we've undone the mount, so this is a Torx 30 that holds this in, and then there's a lower bolt down here somewhere that there's a 6mm Allen key. So basically this whole assembly is now away, because these are steel lines that the caliper is on, and it's only a flexi up here. We then can take the whole assembly of the caliper and just strap that all up onto the strut. Caliper strapped up in place now. It's strapped just up to the shock, to the spring, the upright. Yep, so that's out of the way. So as you can see now, this is then going to allow the axle to drop without the brakes coming with it. Same deal on the other side. Straps out of the way. It means we don't interrupt any of the braking system. None of these hoses are twisted. There's no stress on any of this. They're just literally the calipers upside down. So this is all free. Just absolutely no stress on anything. Just a nicer way of doing it, basically. So there we can see the ATF leak for the transmission fluid that's coming out of the bell housing. So we've got the gearbox there and the engine here. We've got ATF coming out, so suspected torque converter seal. So we've got this is the reason why we dropped the engine, basically. So we've got the gear selector cable disconnected. The exhaust is separated. Prop shaft bolts have been taken out. Transfer case wiring. Remove the bottom two gearbox bolts just for ease. Straining the coolant at present, and got the bolt out of the ATF lines. The engine earth here has also been removed, which goes up here onto that stud. All our suspension work is obviously done. Got these two 10mm nuts that hold onto these two studs. So there's studs here that hold, this is for the under tray support, which is this guy here. Obviously this is going to come down with the under tray now. Not the under tray, sorry, this is going to come down with the subframe. Still get those two heater hoses up here. And take them off. These quick disconnect fittings. The gearbox wiring plugs disconnected. Generally like to check there's no ATF dripping from these, as they're very common to leak internally. These look fine. So we've got that 16mm headed bolt out of the universal joint pinch bolt into the steering rack. Get these two 10mm out to get that shield out of the way so we can slide the steering knuckle off of the steering rack and out and leave it behind. We've also got the wiring plug off of the servotronic. Just tap that up there, so that's for the variable ratio, well not variable ratio, but variable assistance steering rack, which is known as servotronic in Audi language. So yeah, that's disconnected and out of our way. So we're back up top. As you can see, I've got the aircon machine on pulling the gas out. It's already pulled the gas out actually. So we've got one of the lines off here. I've just tucked out the way, and another one down here, both off the compressor. So yeah, just disconnected those two lines off the compressor. We've plugged those holes up so they don't get dirt in them. We've got our radiator hoses off, power steering, off the reservoir, lambda probes all disconnected like we were saying before. I've got my coolant off the vent tube off of the top of the coolant reservoirs off. I've got my coolant feed from the reservoir just off the bottom here, just down there. So yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. We've got our ATF lines just dripping into that pan down there. Fuel lines off of the rail. Undone here, we must counter hold to undo, otherwise we can break the union. So we've just got that sitting in the rag up here with a clamp so it doesn't just keep dripping. Got our EVAP line off of here, which is somewhere just tucked down here. So basically we're ready to pull this guy out and start disassembling further. So this was supposed to be a nice smooth transition and removal, but this subframe bolt, someone has maybe damaged the threads or cross-threaded, or I'm not sure what they've done, but it's an absolute off to get undone. So yeah, I'm going to persevere with that, and then I'll pick you up when we're ready to lift the car.
Yeah, it didn't go well though, it snapped. So, that's what happens when people cross-thread stuff, you know? Ah. What I mean to do that. You see anything that's snagging when it's coming up? Hold on. Yeah. That. Select cable. I'd rather just go slow and do it and not damage anything, you know? But it only takes a couple of seconds and you can just straight on to damage. Whenever you make, like, if you look how far forward the car is, the mirrors are way past the hood, because I want to keep it almost like it was too far forward, to keep the weight with the engine that was forward. With no engine, it's not going to climb forward the hood, so it just goes down. I level it out, you know, now I'm a lot slower, so just to put it underneath it, we need the $5 hood. But they've got mechanical locks, so if you can lock it, there's no chance you can sit down and be lifted up by this.